I'm asking the question based on a couple of emails, including this one from Bert, who said, so let me get this straight. After one season, you have concluded that Jayden is better than Lamar and Mahomes, or is there equivalent? Let the kid actually win something before we crown him. Lamar's the perfect example of how hard it is to win the Lombardi. You can beat a two-time MVP and still have nothing to show for it. This off of the conversation of ceiling and floor for Jayden the other day that we had. Yeah. So have we crowned him too early? Is one season enough to feel like we've seen enough? This is who he's going to be. He's going to be everything he was as a rookie and even better as the surrounding cast improves, as he matures, although he played like a pretty mature quarterback last year. I think it is early 99 times out of 100, but I don't know that it is in this case. I think still the only thing that concerns me about Jayden Daniels is the exact same thing that concerned me last year. And that is his frame one in which it'll hold up and he'll be available for 15, 16, 17 games a year consistently throughout his career? We saw him get hurt in a game last year. Saw him get hurt twice in a game last year, but ended up missing the majority of the game against Carolina, the game in which Marcus Mariota came in and played extremely well. I don't think we have. I know we have, but I think this is the exception to the rule, so I'm going to continue to do it. 301-230-0980. Have we crowned him too early? Max, what do you say?
So there's a lot. I'm old enough to remember Patrick Mahomes' rookie year and the feeling I got when I watched him do the things that he did on the field. And it was
you mean year two? It was his second year.
Yeah, correct. The
yes, first year that he played.
His breakout year, yes.
Yes.
Yes. So, and just by watching him, I got a lot of those same feelings when I watched Jayden, because there's very few guys who play with the IQ that he does, with the movement that he does, with just the speed in general that he does. And it's like every time throughout the season we got into like a 4th and short situation or something like that, he bailed this team out on like 3rd and 15, 4th and 2, anywhere on the field. He was able to get them out of it. So it's, I won't say it's too early to crown him as like one of the top quarterbacks, but I do need to see more in order to like dry the cement. You know what I mean?
I think that's a really, really good way to kind of view Jayden. And people are going to say, well, that's Mahomes. Okay, well, that first year of him starting, not his rookie year, as we know. By the way, I've said this a million times. I think if Andy Reid had pulled Alex Smith and put Mahomes in when they were struggling at one point in that season in 2017, I think Mahomes would have been great as a rookie. I don't think he needed to sit the entire year, but no one will ever know. But the year two that he had, 50 touchdown passes, 12 interceptions, 5,000 yards, the MVP. Let's also not forget, they got to the AFC Championship game and lost that game. They lost to the Patriots at home in overtime, 37-31, I think it was. Now, he threw for many more yards. He threw for a lot more touchdowns that particular season. His rush yards, though, weren't anywhere near.
He also had Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce on his team, too. So that helped quite a bit.
Yeah. I mean, Jayden had, over, 860 something yards rushing. So 600 more yards rushing than Mahomes did, and was much more of a factor as a dual threat quarterback. But I like that because in Kansas City, you could have easily, after that season, said, have we crowned him too early? The problem, the one difference is that season was one of the greatest seasons a quarterback's ever played, not as a rookie, but as a quarterback at any point in their career. So there is that. But sure. I like that because I guarantee you there were people that were saying, well, just hold on here. It's just 1 year. And then there were others that were saying, yeah, but if you watch that year and you saw what he did, And you saw what he did in the clutch during those
test.
games.
The eye test, man.
Yeah.
There's no replacing it.
All right. Let's get to the phone lines. 301-230-0980, 301-230-0980. Have we crowned Jayden Daniels too quickly, too early? Let's start with our guy Chad in Nashville. Chad, go ahead.
Hey, Kevin.
Chad,
so what's going to happen is they're going to do a documentary on the Washington Redskins and the Commanders. And it is going to go through 25 years, 30 years of the transition of this team and the downfall and the absolute just travesty of losing this franchise. Not losing, but you know what I'm talking about. And then here comes Jayden Daniels. That documentary, 75% of it, the filler of the whole freaking documentary will be nothing but Jayden Daniels. And here's why. What he did last year, I don't think we will see probably again for a while, even if you look at quarterbacks coming out. I guarantee you. Jay Gruden, you've had Jay Gruden on. You've had Shanahan on. And they have talked about things that you can't fake, things that you can't get. You can maybe get a little better, but you'll never be elite at. He showed last year, check mark, check mark, check mark, check mark.
Yeah.
He can do it. He can be elite doing it, and he's got the attitude to be able to sustain it. And that's why I was saying, man, I got to see. It's that part of that deep heart and we got to get out of that mode of kind of a fear of things are going to go wrong. And as of after the season, a couple months, I don't know if you can convince me that we're not looking at the second coming of a Tom Brady or the next Patrick Mahomes. That you just can't convince me now that we're not. And to me, as a Redskins fan, saying that, for us to be able to say that is insanity. And to even Tommy on your podcast, how many times has he said this magic isn't fake? This magic's real.
I think it's real. I do, but it doesn't mean both things can be true. That what we saw was real, but we've also crowned him too early because it was also
so, right?
just 1 year. I'm with you, though. You know how I feel. I feel like what I watched last year was borderline flawless. Now, the coaches will tell you, the footwork can improve or this can improve a little bit, but even they're stretching and reaching to find things that he didn't do well. He checked every box as a rookie.
Yep.
He can throw it short, quick game. He can throw it medium. He can throw it. Remember all the concerns about he can't throw the ball over the middle. He takes too many sacks, his pressure to sack percentage. He checked all of the boxes, the deep ball, from the pocket, on the move, creating, off schedule, as a runner, designed runner, option runner, scrambler, in the clutch. Team needs him to deliver on a big drive late in the game. In games in which if you lose, you go home. He checked every box. Now, he was given the opportunity to check every box because they won 12 games, which he was largely responsible for. So you got into some of those big games. That's the other thing that came out of last year. And it's going to pay off in a big way is
with a bad defense.
These guys played massive games. Massive games.
Yeah, with a bad defense. And he every other quarterback that's gone to an NFC championship game has had a top defense. Look at those quarterbacks. They weren't great. Thanks,
Chad. Kev. Appreciate it. I've tried to think what could go wrong in this upcoming season. Well, they're clearly playing, at least on paper right now, a much tougher schedule. Teams that are much better offensively than the teams they played last year. And that's very important because the defense struggled last year against average to less than average offensive football teams. And if you end up not getting off the field and giving up too many points, and now the pressure, just like it was last year, on Jayden to put up 30 plus, 28 plus, to drive him down the field late, etc., will that hold up against better quarterbacks, better teams? We'll see. But in terms of the only thing I can come up with that could go wrong is either he gets hurt or legitimately the supporting cast up front, skill positions just isn't anywhere near good enough. And it wasn't great last year. And it looks better this year, just along the offensive line. It looks better this year. But what if, Tunsil got hurt? What if, Biotish, remember what happened when Biotish had a game off? What if Terry, doesn't get there until late and isn't the same player? What if Debo is out of shape? What if the running backs really were the problem last year? Even if that's the case, I still think that he and Kingsbury would scheme up enough offense and he would be productive enough for the team to be competitive